Good evening, my name is Jemima Beekers, your host for this edition of the Evening Review. Now we are going to speak to Annastasia Helao. She's the director of Helao Women Investment Group. It's one of the fishing companies at the coast that have taken in some of the fishermen that were laid off during the fish rod debacle. Thank you for joining us, Annastasia.
Thank you, Jemima.
Yes, can you hear me, Annastasia?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Thank you for joining us on this show this evening. Can you talk to us about your business?
Thank you, Jemima. We are actually, our company is the Helao Women Investment Group. We are a company which was founded by 8 women since 2012. We have been afforded hake right. We are actually one of the women-owned fishing companies who are afforded hake fishing rights in 2012. So, yeah, that is our company.
So some of the issues that you have there is some of the male fishermen that you've taken in that have a problem taking on land-based jobs. Can you talk to us about these challenges?
Yes, if you recall in 2020, December, the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources has actually called via expression of interest for the right holder in the industry to participate in the Men Employment Redress Program for the ex-striking fishermen. Therefore, Helao is taken in this process. The expression of interest indicated that the employment to be created is for offshore, which is sea going, onshore, which can be land, on land, factories, and so forth, and then industry or fishery related supply chain. Therefore, that is the 3 categories which the expression of interest that the applicants should then be able to create employment in that line. Therefore, when now we have been allocated the quota, the fishermen were not willing or are not willing to do any other work apart from only working at sea. The challenge with creating the work at sea is actually stemming from the quota itself, which was allocated. The quota allocated wasn't sufficient to bring in a vessel and to employ 235 fishermen. Therefore, we thought it then best to venture in a value addition factory here at Walvis Bay. However, the fishermen indicated that they will not take up any land-based work since they were fishermen at sea, although their employment was terminated in 2015 due to an illegal strike. Therefore, our challenges with the fishermen is defiance, where they feel that the quota belongs to the government. They need to be paid whether they have worked or not, and that they will not render any land-based employment and they will start to work. So most of these fishermen have then went back to Okapare and are not working as we are speaking right now.
Okay, Anastasia, just to get clarity, you have 255 fishermen that you've taken in, is that correct? And they are not rendering any service at all, and they are expecting to be paid every month, is that correct?
The amount which was allocated to us is 235 fishermen. We actually have 234, which passed. One of the fishermen or one of our ex passed away earlier this year. Therefore, from the 234, about only 20 to 25 of them are actually currently participating in actual work. The rest is not doing any work. They refuse.
So how much does it cost you monthly to reimburse these workers?
It cost us about 1.7 million monthly to reimburse these employees.
Do you have the money, and where do you get, I mean, do you really have the money? You were talking about the quality of the fishing quota. If you weigh that up, do you really have the money to pay these workers, and have you approached government to deal with this matter?
We have approached government since the whole year, if I can put it. Every month we are writing letters to the government, particularly the Ministry of Fisheries and the Ministry of Labor. They have been assisting us in addressing this matter, but until now we did not reach a fruitful resolution to the matter. So it is still being addressed through the government, and we are waiting on them for finalization of this ongoing labor unrest and disputes. Where do we get the money? The quota is only a certain value, which under consideration, we have then subjected this quota with our technical partner, and we have then been paying these employees from this quota consideration fees which we have received from the technical partner. However, if you have now to look at the cost of the quota or the income from the quota, and it is not contributed, or there's no contributions coming in from the employees, from the investments, it is indeed difficult in remunerating or continuing to remunerate these employees who are not giving their services to the company.
You were talking about Occupare. Can you tell us what is significant about Occupare?
Occupare is actually a stadium. It started the strike in 2015. So in 2015, when they started there, so the Occupare is actually just stadium. It's just in Shivambo, it's called Occupare, but it means stadium. But it is now known for that because that is actually where these fishermen meet, have their daily meeting and operations.
How, Annastasia, can you share with us, how would you say has this situation impacted your operations as a company?
The situation has impacted our operations as a company very, very negatively. As indicated also to the ministries, we have done vast investments in order to secure or to create this employment for the fishermen. However, we are not getting our return back because the fishermen have decided not to participate in any land-based work.
So in the meantime, what have you done to make sure that you have people on the ground, since these fishermen are not willing to do land-based work in your value addition factory?
Apart from the value addition factory, we have also established the industry fishery supply chain, where we have acquired containers, products, and all that, where it's actually need employees to be working towards this in order to return the investment and also to be able to operate as a company. In terms of the factory, it was now standing. Therefore, we engaged the Ministry of allocate us at least a few start the trial and error process of the factory, which we are currently running because we have been waiting, but no solution to sight, and the time was running out to move in terms of this process of ours.
Annastasia, you have also recruited women in the meantime. How have they helped you improve the situation? Could you talk to us about that, and what are the qualifications that they are bringing to the table?
Okay, we have appointed women from the Ministry of Labor through their NES program. This is a program which is designed to put or to indicate those who need employment, and also where companies such as us then can go and get these skilled or semi-skilled employees. Now, what they have contributed so far is that at least we managed to start the factory in itself, but most of these women which we have taken are young, they actually need skills. So we are currently busy with a lot of skills transfer. So we are not actively yet, the output is not there. We are not there yet where we want to be. However, we are busy training them for the desired output.
Anastasia, you were talking about these women that were recruited through the Ministry of Labour, and then even the fishermen were also recruitment that you've done based on encouragement from government to take in fishermen. I get the feeling that you have not recruited people from the street in Walvis Bay where you are operating. Why is that?
The quota itself, which we were allocated by the government, actually for the government redress program. Ideally, we should not even employ any other employees apart from the employees from the employment redress program. For us to have went out and source employees from the Ministry of Labour is simply because of the stance which we are actually currently facing with the fishermen. Therefore, we did not employ any employees just with or as per normal practice in the industry, or usually normal practice in the industry, where you just call for people to bring in their CV, because that is also a standard procedure now, where all employers will then have to go through the NES system at the Ministry of Labour.
We'll go for a quick short ad break, and then we'll be back soon.
We are all seeking connection to each other, to the world, to the spaces we exist in.
Seems like poor sportsmanship right now from the lads.
1.85 for the national record.
Here's another chance, and it is a goal from Vindo Kahan.
Wij zijn CVI is er aan neertrekken. Hij bal ligt mij grond gevat. Ja, hij heeft grond gevat. En dan zien we
running that mountain up. Okay, so we will be doing this. More advanced, slightly advanced.
So is jou trolley reg? Want
I love that. I love that. So then
kickstart our countdown at number 5 with this one.
Op Netwerk TV se Klets Kompas gesels ons nuus van 'n Maandag tot Donderdag. Ons kyk ook na die weer en meer. Stories wat jou raak en stories wat saak maak.
They've made a mistake in denying me bail, and they've made several other mistakes in many other cases.
The channels that teach us something new or reflect our expression. So it goes beyond switching to the right station. It's about choosing the experience that can adorn the present, dressing it with our tastes as we expand our preferences, because what we are actually connecting to is boundless, limitless human energy. And this is the spirit of NTV.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Welcome back. Now, if you've just joined us, I'm Jemima Beekes, your host for this edition. We are speaking to Annastasia. She is the director of Helao Women's Investment Group. She's one of the fishing companies at the coast that have a quota and that have been encouraged by government to take on fishermen that lost their jobs during the controversial strike in 2015. Anastasia?
Yes, ma'am.
So before we went on the break, we were talking about the requirements that you can only recruit through the government system. And can you talk to us about the demand? Obviously, there is a demand for for employment at the coast. How many people are coming to your office every day at this point? And how is the request by the directive by government that you cannot take people from the streets, how is it impacting your operations, given that the people that you have in employment are not willing to do the work that you want and need?
Thank you. That is actually a very good question. Going back into the designation agreement, the designation agreement states that should an employee be terminated, whether by misconduct or he has left or died, as an employer, we are not allowed to replace these employees under the employment redress program, which actually negatively affects us, because now your quota will be reduced due to this either termination or this vacant position, which has become vacant in this aspect. In terms of the demand, ever since we have opened the factory, we have received a lot of attention from job seekers who actually came to the factory to at least drop CVs or just inquire if we are taking in people and so on and so forth. So there is a great need for employment, especially within this industry where we are actually faced with a lot of unemployed youth, or people, should I say, in general. And it is unfortunate that we cannot employ just anybody, although we can provide the work.
So clearly here's a standoff between you and the workers that you have now recruited. How is that impacting the relationship between your company and that of your technical partner?
The employees which we have recruited now and our technical partner does not really have a role to play in the employees which we have employed now. However, the negative effect to our technical partner is for those fishermen which we have seconded to their vessels. We have found ourselves with a situation where the fishermen's entitlement syndrome has went as far as dictating to the technical partners' operations as to where should the vessel dock, where should they be employed at, what position is suitable for them to work in, and so on and so forth. And if they have committed any misconduct, that they should not be terminated, they should not be disciplined, and so on. Just to give you a few examples is that early in the year, some fishermen reported for work under the influence of alcohol. So at our technical partners' premises, they are supposed to blew or to go through the breathalyzer test, and they were found to be intoxicated. Now, this very same employees was charged, and they basically went back to Okapare, and they were received, or they were welcomed back by the team at Okapare without any correction. And we are also faced with the similar situation right now, where in late May, for the first time, one of these employees embarked on a fishing vessel. The vessel went to offload in Luderitz, and this employee decided that since the vessel went to offload in Luderitz and not in Walvis Bay, the employee decided to come back to Walvis Bay to drive his taxi and continue with his normal business in Walvis Bay, and did not expect the company to take any action against him. Now that this has happened, the company has actually inquired him and terminated him, to which I believe you will see either by next week that they will have a demonstration that they demand their co-employee to be reinstated while he has actually deserted his employment.
Have you received any support from the union, the fishermen's union, at that in this regard?
The union, the fishermen was actually affiliated with Namibia Fishing Industries and Fishermen Workers Union. However, this union, as we have also learned, has been deregistered. However, their representative, who was then working on this case, was not really forthcoming in assisting in resolving the matter. In most of the case, I find it to have made it worse.
So earlier you said you were consulting government to help you address this issue. What exactly is it that you want government to do?
In our many meetings with government, firstly, we have been addressing the issue. However, made by the Honorable Minister to look into the matters to say that perhaps they should at least divide this group of 234 fishermen into two and allocate one group to a company which indicated that it had a vessel. The vessel was supposed to be here in May, but I believe they might have suffered some challenges. And then leave us then with the remaining 117, for which we then can also secure a vessel in the next season and so on. So we have then requested government to look also into it and to allow us perhaps to recruit women to work factory because the men has decided not to work in the factory.
Now, in conclusion, can you tell us what does your financial situation look like right now, given that you having to pay people that are not working and your operations are also impacted severely because of this?
Okay. To tell you the truth, as a business woman, I think we have created a precedent where we also given birth to a self-entitlement syndrome with the fishermen, and most of them feels that they should just get paid, although they are not at home, although they are not at work. Sorry, pardon me. This situation has actually rendered us in a position where we will not be able to continue paying them these salaries because the money was just so much, and if it doesn't come from somewhere, then of course it is bound to get finished.
Now, when was the last time that you had a meeting with the fisheries minister?
Our last meeting with the fisheries minister was here in Walvis Bay on the 24th of May, if I can recall clearly. And in this meeting, they were supposed to go back, and then they will then revert back to the companies with then conclusive decision as to what is the way forward.
And you still haven't received any feedback now?
Not yet.
Thank you very much for joining us, Annastasia. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Have a good night. Thank you for tuning in. God bless.